Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Gabriel Wanderley, who will fight on Fury FC 104 May 25th. Hello, Gabriel. How are you?
Hey, good. How about you?
I'm good. And you will fight against the more experienced opponent. It will be Sol Elizondo. He's 14 fights veteran. And
Yes, sir.
because you have like amateur career, you had amateur career. You are like
Seven
maybe not.
fights as a professional and then eight as an amateur. So not as many as him, but definitely ready to take him on.
And what do you think about his skill set? Did you have a two chance to watch any of his fights?
Yep, I've watched as many as there were on YouTube. There's maybe five or six of those on YouTube, and he's a tough guy. He's a very tough opponent, but he's coming in from a losing streak, which means he's been defeated, and I'll be able to defeat him as well. He's also a jiu-jitsu black belt, I noticed, but I don't believe he's at my level on the grappling. And striking, right, there's always the chance there. Anybody can get hit, but I believe I have a better striking and the better grappling to take over this fight and get the win.
And it would be probably great for you if you were able to submit him because it's always like super impressive to submit a black belt.
Oh yes, big accomplishment to submit a black belt is I'm a new black belt as well, and another submission to my record would be great, as then I'll continue to have 100% finish rate.
And actually, I watched a lot of your fights, but even like watching on Tapology, the fighters that you beat, it's kind of crazy. Like in the amateur career or in the pro career, because you got a win over Kwang Le, who is a current UFC fighter.
Yep.
You defeated like John Yanis, who will fight for the Fury FC title. Actually, I think that you are really experienced fighter for your age. And do you
Yeah.
think that you will soon fight for the Fury FC title?
Yes, I'd like to, but right now I'm trying to prove a point as in I can beat tough guys. I will only take tough opponents. This is unfortunately he's got the worst record I've ever fought. The I believe it was my fight two fights ago. I fought on short notice. I fought a guy with not so great of a record, but I was ready to fight a guy that's 7-2. But he ended up pulling out last minute, so we got a replacement with the guy that had a little bit less record. But I'm trying to get guys that are like UFC ready, as in they have good records, they're tough, and beating them proves to me that I'm ready for that. So whether there's a Fury belt, whether there's not, that's not a big deal to me. Although I would like to go for the Fury belt as well. My goal is to get to the UFC and be the world champion. So I'm looking to beat up all the tough guys that I can to get recognized and go out there and continue finishing everybody that I can.
But actually, this kind of veterans that have like almost 20 fights, sometimes there are also can be dangerous even with the not great of the record because they are in this game for a long time. They have this kind of tricks. They know what to do. So I think that when you can beat not only like 3-0 guy like prospects but also veteran, it's also shows how good you are and how you can beat more experienced fighter who on the paper can have like more knowledge.
Exactly. So that's my goal. At the end of the day, I may have less experience as in quantity of fights, but I've been doing this a long time. I have over 500 jiu-jitsu matches growing up. I've been striking for a very long time. I train a very high level gym, and it goes to show. I go out there and I put it all on the line, despite my two losses, one being a decision. That was a very long fight, and the last fight, which I got submitted, but realistically, I only faced really tough guys, and the last loss was to an upcoming prospect as well. And he had the better day that day, but I love running it back. So if I can get another fight, either with Sean Mora or David Anderson, I'd love to do it again because I like making those comebacks. That's for me.
And what are like takeaways from the fight against Damian Anderson for you?
A good takeaway is that I need to manage for myself, like a learning lesson there is managing my space during the striking because I ended up throwing a kick I didn't need to throw. I just threw it and ended up getting me caught with a punch that rocked me a little bit. When I went to the ground, I was stunned, and I did my natural instinct, which is to engage into leg locks and submissions. And he ended up being the better leg locker. He ended up getting me in a leg lock himself, which props to him. He had a very nice leg lock, but I got caught. But in the first round, I feel like it was very close. I feel like if we had a stand-up battle throughout the rounds, I could take the win. And if I got to grapple the way I like to grapple, which is aggressive grappling, attacking submissions, um, preferably while I'm aware of what's going on, I'd be able to get him. But it is what it is. I did take the loss, so I'm okay with that, and I'm ready to move on to keep making my record better and get another chance. And who knows, maybe I'll see him in the future.
And it is all also a proof that you are fighting against the best fighters. Like you have two losses against good fighters, but you have also a very good wins in your record. So I think that in the end, in just few fights, you probably will be like UFC ready.
Yes, sir. I just got to keep winning, and I'll take as many fights as I need till they give me the call or until I can get into contender series. That would be ideal. I know that's the not the easiest way, but it's the best way to get in there. You go out there, you show off, and you get a contract in the UFC. So that's my plan.
And I'm guessing that your favorite, like your first combat sport that you ever trained was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes, sir. I was 8 years old when I started jujitsu. I went straight into competing in the art of jujitsu, and I've been competing ever since. I never really stopped competing. As I got into MMA, the older I got, like from 18 years old till now, 23, I've competed less, but I still actively compete. Every year, I'm still competing. If there's a gap in between a fight, I will get a tournament in there, and just to keep me ready, keep me sharp. There's a lot more wins than losses in jiu-jitsu, because there's so many matches that happen, and there's less danger of getting hit and all that, and not really much of a weight cut. Whereas for MMA there is, so I can easily go compete jiu-jitsu while there's a time off from MMA.
And when you were like on the super high level in jiu-jitsu when you started MMA training, how did you feel? Because it's like in the end quite a new thing for the beginner in this
For
sport.
sure. So I actually did pancration, which is like before amateur MMA. There's pancration, which is no head strikes. I did two of those fights. I was 2-0 in that. At the peak of my jiu-jitsu career. I did two of those pancration fights. I continue to go on to be the number one purple belt in the world at IBJJF, which is a jiu-jitsu league. And right after that, I turned professional into MMA, and I felt like I had really high level jiu-jitsu for that. My striking definitely needed to catch up, and I believe in the last few years it's been catching up, and I keep progressing with my wrestling and my striking, and my jiu-jitsu is leveling up along with those, so I don't ever stop training jiu-jitsu. That's why I still continue to compete and stay active, even though, for example, I've been waiting for a fight. I wanted to fight in March. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so I've been waiting, and I've been continuing to train. I've been in camp for a long time. I just had the loss. I took a little bit of time off to recover, and then I got right back into camp because I want to make this comeback, and I've been waiting ever since. So this is actually one of the longest camps I've been in. Um, the last few months, I've just been thinking I was going to get a fight, possibly May, now April, and then now it's going to be. Oh, sorry. I meant to say I wanted to fight in March, now April, and in May I'll be fighting now. So thankfully, we've come to an agreement getting a fight. But yeah, I'm always going to be ready. Um, that's my goal, is just keep beating those tough guys to prove that I deserve to be in there.
And about your ground game, because it seems to be like on the really high level, and of course, like your rear naked choke when you are taking your opponent's back, it's almost impossible to escape. And even you have this TKO that you ground and pound with the being on the back. So I think that it's also a quite rare thing.
Yep.
But do you have like a submission that you would like to use in the fight and win the fight by?
I'm not picky at all. So I take what they give me. And when I get the back, most people end up giving the rear naked choke. But as an amateur, I've taken arm bars from the back. Like I said, I'll take what they give me. So if I see an opening, I'm going for it, whether it's a leg lock, an arm lock, a neck choke. It doesn't matter what it is. It's whatever is there. I'm a shark. I go for the kill. Whatever's there to bite, I'll take it. I'm not gonna be picky, but I end up getting rear naked chokes because the back is a safe position. I go to the back. I'm safe. The opponent's not safe. I can strike and attack submissions while being safe, and I like to not take any damage. So you will see me a little bit different this time. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to keep my distance. I'm going to go in there and make it rough because this guy's also tough, even though his record may not be so great. He's a very tough guy, tough opponent. He's ready to brawl and fight, and he's also got the grappling to back it up. So I'm going to go in there to prove to him that I'm better in all those aspects, and I'm going to go dominate because once people are under pressure, they end up giving you opportunities for the submission, and that's where I'm going to get the kill. I if I see the opportunity for the TKO, I will take it. But as you may know, I like to get my submissions in. So finishing is what I'm looking for.
And right now, like for the probably like the whole of your career, you train in your father gym, right? Like Wanderley Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes. So I would say 80% of the time I'm training at Wanderley Jiu-Jitsu. That's a gym in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's my father and I's gym. We run that place, and I've been training out of there for the last 5 years. That's when we opened our gym. But for the last year and a half or almost 2 years now, I've been training at Valley Flow Striking. I actually just got done practice over there, but it's where Bilal Muhammad, Juliana Pena, Yair Rodriguez. This is where they train out of as well, and I have a really high level team behind me that I get to train with every day. As you may know, the two main events are actually people that train at this gym. So I was just training with them right now. We're very excited to go out there together as a team, and it's gonna be a good outcome for Valley Flow Striking and for Wanderlei Jiu Jitsu.
And of course, you mentioned a lot of great names. And Yair fought last Saturday against Pitbull. And in the end, I think that it was a great performance by him against really like the best fighter in the Bellator history, and of course, still a very dangerous fighter. So I think that with the win, Yair can put himself on the like UFC title fight against Volkanovski.
Yes, sir. I think he deserves a chance at the title again. He really does. He's a very tough guy, and he showed it. He showed it Saturday night that he deserves it because he dominated that fight fully.
And about your like motivation in the sport, what drives you? What makes you to do things that you do? Go to the gym every day and train as hard as you can.
My number one drive is I want to be the world champion, man. I want to go out there and beat Merab. I want to go out there and beat um, whoever is the champion in the moment, right? Whenever my turn comes, whoever's the champion, that I want to go out there and get the belt. For one, it's to prove to myself that I'm the best. I think I'm the best grappler in the 135 division. It doesn't matter which organization. I believe I have it. Now it's just about going out there and proving it. So I'm going to keep looking for those finishes. But my number one drive is to prove to myself that I'm the best because since a little kid, I've wanted to fight. And it really just drives me to want to show the world that I'm the best, even though there's hundreds of other fighters and everybody's very good. Everybody trains. Everybody has the support system and the sponsors and the background that they've had. Whether it's striking, wrestling, jujitsu, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to go out there and show that I have it better and I'm the best and I train harder and I'm just trying to make that point because you can only do this for so long. I know that the fighting career is a short term kind of thing, and as I'm 23 right now, I really want to make that statement in the next decade if I can. I'm ready to get in there as soon as possible. If I get the opportunity, I'll take it. But my ultimate goal is to be the world champion. So to get there, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to go through anybody. The staircase can be all the way up to heaven. I'll go up it.
And when you are watching fighters from the bantamweight division, like Merab, like Sean, do you watch them as the like fighter who can beat them, like analyzing their style and think what can you do to beat them?
Yes, sir. I do study those fights exactly like that. I look at the style, the way they do every step they take, right? I prefer to rewatch them too. So like every Saturday night, I love watching the UFC fights because it's entertaining and I have a lot of fun watching it. But at the end of the day, I'll go back and watch those fights. Not necessarily Saturday, but the next day I'll go back and watch those fights. If it was a 135-pound fight or bantamweight fight, I will go back and rewatch it to see what's going on. What are these high level guys doing differently than me? What are these guys doing that's working for them? What could I take away from them? Because I will copy what works. I'll take it and put it into my arsenal. So that's how I go about that. And the same as to watching my opponent. I mean, if he does something that I like, I'm still gonna do it. Or if he knows how to defend something I do, I'll still do it. I'm just gonna make it happen. I'm gonna do it better this time. Or that's the kind of mindset I have, is to make it happen. And I do like to study fights a lot, and I also love to train. Like you can't get me away from the gym. I'm training 3 times a day, as many times as I can. Like I make the sacrifice to drive from Milwaukee to Chicago for Valley Flow. That's an hour and a half drive just to get some training in. The moment we're done with this call, I got to go right back to Milwaukee, which is an hour and a half away. And then I have to go do my job, which is teach the kids jujitsu lessons. And then I go right back to kickboxing class, and then back at it tomorrow. I drive back here again and back and forth, so on and so forth. It keeps going. For me, it's worth the sacrifice.
It definitely showed your like dedication to the sport, and of course to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And about current champion Merab Dvalishvili,
Mhm.
what do you think? What do you think? Which kind of style can beat him? Because for now, of course, he lost 2 first fights in the UFC, but it was a really long time ago, and it was like some controversy in these fights. But for now, what do you think the fighter can do to beat him?
O'Malley, I think O'Malley's gonna get it done the second time. I know it's not confirmed. I'm actually not sure if it's confirmed or not. After fighting again, it might be. I think they will get their second run on fighting together, but I think O'Malley can get it done because he learned. I hope he learned his lesson. He figured that Marab's got that pace, right? Nobody can outpace Marab supposedly, but when it comes down to defending the takedowns, it's not insanely hard. O'Malley did it. Now he knows what Marab's pressure feels like. I believe he's going to be able to defend those takedowns even better. And I believe he's going to be able to find those openings to strike, like the way he knocked out Aljo. He just found that opening and let it go. I think he's going to be able to find those openings now that he understands the pressure. Because when there's a lot of pressure, fighters tend to have to back up or defend so much that now you don't let loose to be able to strike or to be able to land your fancy moves, right? Like O'Malley has them. But I believe he's gonna learn. He has learned his lesson from the first fight, and I know he's been training from since that fight until today. He's still getting ready, and he's still studying, and he's still keeping that pressure. And I do believe O'Malley gets it done this time because he understands that. And I don't believe Marab has the jujitsu skills. He has the wrestling skills, but the jujitsu skills, I don't believe he has it to be able to submit O'Malley. So if it comes down to it to a decision, there's a possibility Marab wins, right? Because he's got that pressure. He's got the no matter what you think of him, he can strike, he can wrestle, and he can grapple too. But his highest pace is that wrestling pace, and that's what he's really good at. And I think O'Malley can get the win if he finds that gap, or if he learns how to keep the pace the pressure off of him so that he's able to win by a decision. But there's always that chance he gets that slick striking in, and you never know what's gonna happen when one of those punches land, right? But in my opinion, I'd love to run it with either one of them in the future. I also have to level up my striking. I wouldn't say I take a title fight in the UFC today, but I'd love to do that in the next few years as I level up and continue to rank my way up the steps there.
And what is crazy, like bantamweight division, of course, in the UFC, it's like probably the best division that we have. But also on the regional scene, even like Fury got some really really like great bantamweight fighters. So it's great that you can challenge yourself fighting against the best.
Yeah, I think bantamweight division is definitely one of the toughest. In my opinion, it's bantamweight, featherweight, and lightweight. Welterweight is really tough too. Those three are really hard. Just because when you watch the fights, all those fights are super high paced, super fast. I would also include flyweights, but you don't see as many finishes in the flyweight, because man, those little guys are so fast. But those four divisions are where you see the most finishes. Although heavyweights also have it, but they're a slower pace. Like, they're calm and they're waiting until they land those clean strikes. But at those divisions, it really is about who's got the better pace, who's more prepared, because everybody's got very good skills. It's who's more prepared that day, and that's why I train the way I do, is because I'm going to be prepared when May 25th comes. I'll be ready for anything. I like studying and watching, but you never know if my opponent hasn't fought in, I believe, 5 years. Who knows how long it's been? I know he's been wanting to fight. You could see on Typology it says canceled bouts. So he's been training. Who knows if in 5 years his style has changed, right? I'm watching fights from a while ago, so I want to be ready for whatever style he may have changed into, or maybe he becomes more of a grappler or more of a striker in the last 5 years, and that I don't know. But I will be ready for whatever the outcome may be.
And of course, you have a lot of BJJ experience, a lot of MMA experience. You are in the gym all the time. But in your opinion, what is like the most challenging aspect of the sport of MMA, either like fighting or training, like overall MMA?
Okay, so for me personally, this varies between every single fighter. I started off as a jiu-jitsu guy. Striking was a little bit hard at first, but once I picked it up, it became almost simple to understand, because jiu-jitsu is so complex that it's a very crazy art. You do so many crazy things on the ground. Striking, it gets a little bit fancy, but at the end of the day, it's very simple. You can only throw so many strikes. Um, but the wrestling, I also wrestled for over 5 seasons here in the U.S. We wrestle per seasons for not folk style or Greco, but I did not freestyle or Greco. I did folk style wrestling for multiple seasons here. And wrestling pace is the hardest to acquire, as in like it takes a lot of effort to build up that Merab type pace where you have that cardio. But once you build it up, like I currently have right now, it gives you so much confidence. I'm willing to fight anybody because, but for me, I feel like that was the hardest to acquire, was the wrestling pace. I'm still till this day, if I take 1 week off because I'm hurt or something, that wrestling pace goes away. I can still strike a little bit. I can grapple if need be, but that wrestling pace is what I work on every single day. As many times as I can. The moment I get a chance to work on my wrestling, I do, because I feel like that's what I lack in. Not the technique, not the way to get your takedowns, although I do some very, very different types of takedowns compared to your average fighter. I think the pace, like Merab has, that's really hard to build and that's really hard to maintain. So props to him for being the hardest working guy in the room, I'm assuming, because there's no way he's not outworking everybody to have that kind of pace. So he's meant to be the world champion right now.
Yes, and especially for the 25 minutes, it's like, of course, like 5 or 7 minutes, it's possible, but do it
Yeah,
for 25, it's like super rare thing. And maybe he also got not the condition, but his body is built that way that he can push a
yeah, he
little bit
has a little
more.
bit of advantage for sure. I definitely agree. I mean, you can't forget those. He does 3 rounds with Aljo in the back before he goes out to fight. So let's call it let's call it 8 rounds there for very high paced cardio. He's got it. He's him at the moment. So I like watching him fight.
And before your fights, do you use maybe some like breathing technique or some meditations?
Not necessarily actually. I don't get nervous for fights. I'm not scared to fight. I don't have any superstitions towards fighting. I don't have any rituals. I don't have anything like that. I believe that what's meant to happen will happen. So what's going to happen in the cage is set. It's going to happen on May 25th. The outcome is already predicted. So I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. I let my body do all the work and my mind control it. But at the end of the day, as long as I'm there, my gloves are on, my cup mouth guard's in, I'm ready to throw down. The way I get there, or how things go beforehand, um, other than any injuries don't really affect me too much. I like to be very open-minded to that, because having those superstitions or those rituals can only get into your mind. And if it doesn't go your way, your mindset might be thrown off. For me, my mindset's always the same. It's to be ready for whoever, really. I like to be ready for everybody. So I'm always training with all kinds of people that strike, wrestle, or also grapplers, so I can get the look in case my opponent decides to change it up. Right? I could be fighting a striker, but if he decides to take me down, I have to be ready to defend that. So you have to be ready for those unpredictable moments in the fight, and you can't let your rituals or superstitions or whatever it may be that you like to do every time that you do before fighting affect your mindset in that. You know, it should always be the same mindset. You should be very strong in your mind before you're strong physically, because not anybody can step out there into the cage. And the only thing that lets me go out there fearless is my mindset. I'm very, very strong about my mindset. Outside of training, that's the number one thing I focus on is having a clear and positive mindset towards myself, and an aggressive and killer mentality towards my opponent. Regardless of who he is, I'm very respectful to all my opponents, and I'm a very nice guy. But when we're in the cage and the door's locked, I'm a different person, and I'm looking to get the kill by any means necessary. A shark doesn't care if you're a human or a fish. He's gonna go out there and take a bite.
And in your training camp, do you spar a lot? Because there are like few school of thoughts. Let's say that some people don't like to spar a lot. Some people do. It's like their favorite part of the game. So do you spar a lot?
So I love sparring, but I keep it to 2 hard days of sparring a week. So I do Wednesday here at Valley Flow Striking, and then I do Saturday over at Wanderley Jiu Jitsu. Those are my 2 hard sparring days. I would say like we throw down. This is almost like a fight. So I would say I do spar quite a bit, but throughout the week we do a lot of live situations. But I would consider that more light sparring, very light sparring, because I wouldn't want to hurt my partner with little MMA gloves on. So when we're training with little MMA gloves on, we're doing light sparring, careful with each other, because everybody I train with fights at. So we all got a fight coming up, or my friend's going to be fighting a month from now, and I'm fighting in a couple weeks. So we're very careful with each other. But when it comes down to sparring hard sparring days, we have big gloves on, we have headgear on, and we're very protected. But that's the day we let loose and we do go hard, and we're trying to beat each other up that day. So I would say 2 times a week, hard sparring. Throughout the week, I do train every day except Sunday. Um, but throughout the week, I would say there is still some sparring, but very, very different kind of sparring. It's very technical, very aware, very careful sparring.
And do you have like your favorite sparring partner that you know that he can give you his best and he's like the best option for you?
Yeah, I have people I pick and choose who are safe, but everybody is. I like to have a variety. Like the more different people I train with, the better it'll make me, because everybody's got a different style. Everybody has a different way to throw a punch. Everybody has a different takedown entry. So the more different ways I can see it, the more I'm prepared for whoever is going to come. Like, I don't know if my opponent's changed the way he does a takedown, but if I train with if I do all my rounds with 5 different wrestlers, they're all going to shoot a little bit different. And that's going to keep me ready and aware for all those types of entries or takedown attempts, so that when my opponent comes in and shoots, I'm ready for all kinds of takedowns and ready for all kinds of defenses, because I train with all these different people. I don't necessarily think it's the best to always have just one training partner that, I mean, you have to have a training partner that's safe to go with, but only having that one guy that you always train with him every day, you're his partner, in my opinion, it's not the best, because now you only get to see his way, right? You only get to see how he throws the jab or how he does his takedown shots. So training with a variety of training partners is what I try to do, because it keeps me sharp.
And before you said that like being ready is a really important thing, and sometimes the like UFC opportunities can appear with the short notice fight. And
Exactly.
about your weight, how quickly can you make a bantamweight weight limit?
So to make the bantamweight right now, I think it would take me 2 to 3 weeks. But I'm 6 weeks out. Usually I start cutting about 4 weeks away from the fight. I think I can do it in 2 to 3 weeks if I rush it, but I like to do it in 4 weeks, ideally. So right now I weigh 152 pounds. It's not very, very big, but it is substantially more than 135. I believe in kilos, it's a lot different. I'm not 100% sure. Although I'm Brazilian, the kilos do throw me off a little bit. But to make 135 pounds, I would say 2 to 3 weeks rushed, and comfortably, I like to have 4 weeks. But right now, I got this fight 2 weeks ago, so it was 8 weeks out when I got the fight. I will already start eating clean so that my body is training at optimal capacity. Like I won't eat junk food. I'll eliminate as much sugar as I can. I will eat whole foods like vegetables and like real foods that keep me healthy. I don't want to fatigue my body really hard from training and then have ice cream for dinner because that's gonna slow down my recovery rate and all that. So I keep all of that into account. But I don't start losing weight until about 4 weeks. That's when I like to start because obviously I like to feel good in training. And when you start decreasing calories and training really hard, you don't feel 100%, right? And nobody goes out there to fight at 100% because most people cut a lot of weight, same as myself. And I wouldn't say you're 100% mentally prepared, but physically, because of the weight cut, most fighters usually lose a little bit of power. And I think that's for everybody. So, and I wish there wasn't weight cuts. I wish I could fight at my natural weight at 150, for example, and not have to do a weight cut. But it's part of the game. If my opponent's doing it and everybody in the industry is doing it, I'm also going to do it. So I'll lose the weight at by any means necessary. Really, I'll eat clean. I'll decrease my calories and drink a lot of water, dehydrate myself if that's what we have to do. And at the end of the day, my opponent feels the same way because he does the same thing. You know what I mean? So it evens it out pretty well.
Okay, Gabriel. So many thanks for the conversation. I think that it will be another finish for you, but I'm really excited about your like next fights because I think that Fury can book you with a lot of good fighters, and you showed many times that you can beat really talented opponents.
Yes, I'm very I don't like to look ahead of any fights, so I'm very focused, very excited to have this fight May 25th. I'm very thankful that it did happen because I had been waiting for a little bit. I've been training this whole time, but I was waiting. I was just praying that I would get a fight, and I did. So the moment that happened, we took it right away, and all I can focus is on my fight. Every single day I wake up and I'm thinking, what can I do to win this fight? And it's eat clean, train hard, recover. Those three things are like the rituals to me. Although it doesn't matter to me how I get it done, as long as I go and get my workout in and do some recovery at night, like just resting or um, the rest is very important as an MMA fighter. So I have to make sure I get my sleep in and my rest before I'm ready for the next day's practice. So um, sorry, I had a phone call there, but yeah, I never try to look forward to it, but I am very glad and very happy to be with Fury because they give me good fights. They give me fights that are entertaining. They've always put me up on UFC Fight Pass and they build me up uh really tough fights to make me look the way I do now. So sometimes I think the road is bumpy for every fighter. It's really, really hard to go undefeated, but who did you fight to go undefeated? Like you look at some guys in the records that of the people they fought are way unexperienced guys compared to them, and they're getting the wins and they're building themselves up really well, and they will get that chance to go to the UFC. But when you go there, you're not going to fight anybody like that. You're going to fight tough, tough guys that have really good records, really good experience. So that's the reason I'm going the route I did. If you even look down at my amateur fights, everybody had a winning record. I believe everybody had a winning record. Everybody I fought as an amateur, and as a professional, this is actually the second guy only out of this is going to be my eighth professional fight out of 8 fights. This is only the second guy with a losing record that I'm fighting. So, and it just happens to be I don't get to pick and choose who I fight. I just say, I get the name and I look him up. And if it looks like, if I feel confident in that I can beat this guy, I'm going to say yes, you know? And usually I'm really confident because I have the jiu-jitsu background and I have the experience with all the other fights I've had to be able to take on very tough opponents. So I look forward to that. The moment that fight's over, then I'm going to be looking forward to the next one.
Yes, but this will be definitely a fireworks Fury FC 104. So thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Really good event. I really look forward to it. Fury puts on great shows, and I I I will tell everybody to tune in and watch because um, those title fights are going to be very entertaining, including mine. I'm going to go out there to entertain. I do go out there to get the win. That's my number one goal. But at the end of the day, we're we're entertainers, right? People are watching the fight, so I do look to put on a show. I try to make it look good. I don't want a boring fight, although I've lost some of those. Um, I don't like them, although I like to watch some of those kinds of fights because, I mean, you can say whatever you want about Merab, but some of the fights are boring. To me, they're entertaining because I'm watching the details and how he works and what he's doing to his opponents to even hold them down on the ground because that's not easy to do. You know, like some of these guys, you can't just hold them down on the ground, and he's doing it to everybody. So it's just part of the fight industry.
Okay, so thank you for the time.
Yeah, man. That was awesome. I appreciate you having me. I look forward to doing the next one for the next fight.